I still remember the night she said it. Not the words themselves, not even her tone, but the silence that followed, the kind that slices through you and leaves a hollow ache where something inside you dies. We were arguing about something trivial, I can't even recall what, but then she sighed, rolled her eyes and said, "You know, my ex never made such a big deal out of things. He knew how to handle me. He was superior." The word superior echoed in my mind long after she left the room. I told myself I must have misheard. But deep down I knew better. She wasn't comparing small habits. She was comparing men. And in that comparison I had lost. Her name was Vanessa. We had been together for nearly 4 years. I met her when she was still healing from a messy breakup. The kind that leaves you picking up pieces of someone else's broken heart and hoping that your patience and care will be enough. I became her safe harbor, the listener, the fixer, the patient one. But the truth is, no matter how much love you give, you can't outlove someone's ghosts. They always find their way back. The days that followed were strange. She laughed at her phone more than usual, kept it face down on the couch, and casually mentioned places she and her ex used to go, almost testing me. I didn't react, not because I didn't care but because I was already beginning to detach. When someone you love humiliates you once, it sparks anger. When it happens again, it sparks clarity. A week later she cheated. I didn't catch her in the act. She confessed. Maybe it was guilt, maybe it was some twisted sense of power. She admitted she'd reconnected with him. She said it as if it were nothing, casually, picking at her nails, avoiding my gaze. But the real blow wasn't the betrayal itself. It was what she said after. It made me realize how much I've missed being with someone who knows what he's doing. In her words, I wasn't enough. Not as a man, not as a partner, not even as a memory. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply stood, walked to the bedroom and started packing. She didn't even ask me to stay, not until she realized I actually meant to leave. Then came the trembling voice, the sudden tears, the lip quivering, but they weren't for me. They were for the stability she was about to lose. That night I left. No drama. No final words. Just silence and a closed door. The following days were a blur of calls and messages. At first she was angry, accusing me of being dramatic. Then softer, pleading, regretful. But I didn't respond. I shut down everything, blocked her number, deleted her photos, erased my presence from every corner of her world. If she wanted comparisons, she would have nothing left to measure. And that's when the real story began. 3 weeks later, mutual friends began sharing whispers. Vanessa wasn't doing well. The man she had cheated with had vanished completely, leaving her desperate for closure but finding only silence. The same silence I had embraced months ago. She even reached out to my sister, asking if I was okay, confessing regret, admitting she never thought I'd truly leave. But I was gone. Not just physically but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Sometimes, the most painful revenge isn't shouting or proving someone wrong. It's disappearing so completely that they question whether they ever truly knew you at all. Silence has weight. At first, Vanessa likely thought my absence was temporary, that I would return once I cooled down like I always did. But as weeks became months, the silence began to haunt her. Unlike me, she couldn't live with it. I moved to another city, a small apartment in a quiet neighborhood, leaving no traces of the past. I stopped checking her socials, stopped wondering about her life, stopped trying to understand her choices. At some point, understanding stops healing. It only keeps you tethered to the pain. I rebuilt my life quietly, like a man stitching his wounds in the dark. Meanwhile, Vanessa began unraveling. It started with random messages from unknown numbers. "Hey, can we talk?" Just 5 minutes. I ignored them. Then came emails, long, desperate, full of regret. She admitted she had made a mistake, that the man she cheated with wasn't who she thought he was. She longed for the calm, stability and safety I had given her, the very peace she once found dull. One message stood out, "Disappearing like this is cruel. I just want to explain, but there's nothing left to explain. Some things don't need closure, they need distance." Months passed. I got promoted, joined a gym, reconnected with old friends and began seeing someone new, a woman named Claire. She was grounded, kind and steady, nothing like Vanessa. When she asked about my past, I told her the truth, not for pity, but because I refused to build another life on silence. She simply nodded. "You don't look like someone who's still stuck there." For the first time, I realized she was right. Then one rainy night, Vanessa appeared at my door. The rain fell heavy and relentless, blurring the streetlights. She was drenched, shivering, eyes wide as if she had seen a ghost. For a moment, I almost didn't recognize her. The arrogance, the confidence, all gone. What stood before me was a woman hollowed out by regret. You weren't supposed to move on this easily, she whispered. I didn't answer at first. I simply watched her, letting her search my face for the man she once belittled. I thought you'd fight for me, she murmured. I did, I said quietly. But you mistook my patience for weakness. There's nothing left to discuss. She cried, pleaded, promised she would do anything to make things right. But love isn't a switch that flips when loneliness strikes. Once you kill someone's peace, they don't crave your presence. They crave their own serenity. I closed the door gently without slamming it, leaving her sobs to blend with the rain. That was the last time I ever heard her voice. Over a year has passed. Life feels different when you stop chasing closure and start choosing peace. I'm no longer bitter. In a strange way, I'm grateful. She taught me that sometimes losing someone is the only way to find yourself. People still tell me she regrets everything. But regret isn't love. Regret is realizing too late that she took stability for granted. As for me, I've learned this. Walking away quietly isn't weakness, it's power. When someone tells you you're not enough, the best response is to vanish so completely that they spend every day wondering how someone they deemed inferior managed to move on without them. In the end, she said her ex was superior. Maybe he was. But the day I disappeared, she learned something her ex never could. What it feels like to lose a man who truly loved her, and never returned.